you have any idea how many successful entrepreneurs who've had what other people would classify as setbacks? Car accidents, infertility, immigration, addiction, the list goes on and on. Any idea how many successful entrepreneurs have turned those things into an unfair advantage? This is the Unfair Advantage. Turning life's challenges into your secret weapon for success. Life throws curveballs. They're not setbacks, they're setups for success. We dive deep into the lives of amazing entrepreneurs who've embraced their struggles, turned them into strengths, and built kick-ass businesses. And it's not about dwelling on past mistakes. It's about moving forward, building resilience, and creating success despite all the odds. Before we jump into these incredible stories, a big shout out to Brad's agency, ScreamingCow.com, where we turn dreams into digital realities. Let's do this. This is the Unfair Advantage. And now your host, Brad Starnes.
Welcome back to another episode of the Unfair Advantage. I am your host, Brad Starnes. Today, I'm excited to be joined with Jami Shield, who is the CFO and co-founder of Firecam, which is the premier provider of high-quality industry-specific camera and drone technologies for first responders and related markets. Jami has a deep business experience and understanding of the challenges faced in the fire industry. She helped launch Firecam with her husband, Rob, as a leading provider of life-saving technology and services to firefighters worldwide. In her role as CFO, she has been one of the primary and core reasons to driving the vision and rapid growth of the organization. And Jami continues Firecam's commitment to public safety by developing high-quality products and services without compromise. One of the things Jami does not know so I've known Jami for over a decade or so. And seeing kind of her and Rob when I was younger as a kid and kind of I've always known entrepreneurship, but seeing it at the level in which her and Rob were operating were kind of one of the first glimpses that I had into what I wanted to be as an entrepreneur. But prior to bringing Jami on, I wanted to remind everybody that today's episode is sponsored by Screaming Cow Marketing Group, which is a full-service marketing agency that specializes in helping service-based businesses grow more leads through utterly unforgettable marketing. Finding a marketing agency who cares about your business as its own is like finding a needle in a haystack. So if your business is looking for more business to do, call the guys who moo. Jami, welcome on.
Awesome. I love the intro. Thanks so much.
Thanks. I keep kind of changing it every couple episodes and seeing what works, what doesn't work, and all of that. So obviously we're going to get into a little bit about what your unfair advantage is and all of that. But prior to getting into that, why don't you tell us a little bit more about Firecam, how you got into being an entrepreneur and that whole aspect of things.
I love the story of Firecam. Rob, my late husband, was active duty East St. Louis fireman and was very active in the early days with fires and would come home and tell us about it. And one day he strapped a sports camera on his helmet and brought home a video. And he's like, "You got to check this out." And we're like, okay. And he plays this video and it's like this interior attack and there's fires all around him. And he's like, "I think we can, I'm going to put this online." And, break.com is not even there. That's like an old place where you put your videos out there and it got all these hits. And he's like, "I think I can sell these cameras." And I was like, okay. Like, our baby's not even 2 years old at this point. You know what I mean? Like, We're poor people. We're both working. We're paycheck to paycheck. And he's like, "I want to buy 10 cameras. And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to max your credit card out and I want to buy 10 cameras. And I was like, "No, I don't want to do that." And so he waits about a week and he's like, "Hey, now these people are emailing me. They want to know where I got this camera from." And he's like totally geeked out. He's used it again. He's got new videos. He's bringing them home. And he's like, "Wow." And I'm like, "How much are these cameras?" He's like, "They're like $99 a piece." I was like, "You want to put $1,000 on my credit card?" I'm like, "What? Are you crazy?" And he's like, "Jami, I really think we can sell these things." And I'm like, okay, how much are we going to sell these for? He's like, $159. We're going to make $59. And I'm like, okay. He's like, one a month. We have 60 extra dollars. And I was like, well, I mean, again, I said, we're paycheck to paycheck. We have a baby at home. So I was like, okay, fine. We'll give it a shot. So we gave it a shot, bought 10 cameras, sold 10 cameras way sooner than 10 months, which is kind of what we were hoping for. And we started the company in 2007, and we've continued to originally started off reselling, and now we manufacture our own cameras, and we have been doing that since 2007, 2008. So we just continue to, be innovative about our products and try to come out with new products every year, every other year, and, continue to provide the support that we've always done. And it's fun. Yeah. It's a fun place to be.
So 159 for the camera then, kind of, obviously you guys manufacture and everything yourself now, so completely different camera than what he was selling then. But kind of where is pricing now with the cameras? I always like looking at like you in a way, like your mind gets super like focused on just one thing, and you're like, I'm going to make $60 on it. And it's like, you actually could have made X amount more. And you have to like almost like force yourself to expand your mind into like what people will actually pay for your product or service or anything like that.
There was nothing on the market at the time. So therefore, us presenting this, it was like, why would you want to put a camera on your helmet? We got especially a lot of the old schoolers. Now the young guys were like, oh, this is so cool, blah, blah, So I think we started the company at a very, very cool time. But I think the people that were purchasing it didn't have a lot of money. And we sell to a lot of volunteers. So they're not making money when they're putting that camera on their helmet. So the cameras, first off, they were 720 resolution. And now we sell all the way up to 4K. And 159 did not include a mount. We had no mounting solution or anything for it when we put it on the market. So now we have a full mounting solution. We manufacture and have patents on all of our mountings. And they range from a little over 200 up to like 350, depending on which one. And we're working on some new innovative live streaming cool cameras, and I'm hoping to release those Q3 this year.
Okay. And so obviously you said like firefighters, volunteers, like they're buying these, but you guys also partnering up with like the fire departments for them to buy for all of their crew to wear and everything?
We sell directly to departments and in consumer sales. So our helmet cameras, we sell actually mostly to end consumers, and then we do have large departmental purchases. But I would say probably statistically, we sell more to end consumers than we do departments. And then with our drone sales, we resell drones, the big commercial thermal imaging with methane detection and all kinds of cool stuff. Those we sell mostly to departments. Different purchases, different folks out there selling it. So our team kind of ranges in where their backgrounds are and where they're at now, and whether they're in the office, whether they're boots on the ground. So just kind of depends on what product they're selling.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then you guys, so began in 2007. So obviously we have the economy in 2008, 2009. Did that affect anything with you guys, or just it was like full gas to the pedal all the way through?
Full gas to the pedal. And in fact, COVID didn't stop us because all public safety still continued to work. Emergency services didn't stop. Just because the country slowed down, restaurants weren't open, businesses weren't open, public safety was still out there. They were still rescuing people out of houses. They were, keeping everybody safe. So we have not, knock on wood, skipped a beat. We continue to push forward with whatever's thrown at us.
Yeah, that's one thing. Like my last business, it definitely got like affected by COVID and everything like that. And that was one of the things that I took out of a lesson out of there, is like finding a business that like it may have its ups and its downs, but like you're always going to be needed in a way, like emergencies, services, payments, like those different things, even marketing in a way. Like we're going through that phase right now where some clients are trying to pull back on what they're putting into marketing and everything. But then we have other people who are like, we've never done marketing in the world. And like, we're just going all in. And so when I hear people talking about the economy, like what we're getting into, it's an election year, da da da, da, everything you hear, I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And I'm sure it's the same thing with you guys as well. So, so you and Rob, founded the company. And then, so Rob kind of goes into like what your unfair advantages, and everything like that. So if you wouldn't mind, would you mind giving us a little bit about Rob and how that kind of transitions into where you're at now?
Okay. So Rob's role for the company, and my role for the company, let's kind of define those. So he did all of the product development, worked hand in hand with all the engineers. He did all of our website design, our SEO, all the marketing. He basically presented, if it was a piece of paper, it passed my desk. Yes, you can spend that. No, you can't. I paid the bills. I ordered the product. He did all the testing. Any new camera that came in, any new product that we wanted to, it went on his helmet. He took it to work and he tested it until he was comfortable with the quality of it. So his part in this company was primary. Without him doing what he did, I couldn't do anything with my paperwork.
Right.
So he retired from East St. Louis in 2019 after 20 years. And we were focusing on the company full time. And he had an unexpected accident in 2020, which left me to put pieces back together, pick up pieces, try to come up with a team that could do what he did. And I couldn't do it because I didn't have the knowledge. I didn't understand all the tech that went in it. And I'm very type A, black and white. He's very big picture creative. So that thought process, I can't even process. Like where his mind is and where mine is are completely opposite ends of the spectrum. So to go in and have to try to step into his shoes was something that was, first off, nobody can do that. Because when you have a passion for for fire service, the way that he did, you can't replicate that. So I've had to bring in new team members that keep Rob at the forefront of our company and continue to run the company with his legacy pushing us, to kind of go, okay, well, what would Rob do? Our hashtag phrase, WWRD, what would Rob do? And I ask myself that probably on a regular basis, like, okay, here's what's in front of me. What would he do? And it's been a challenge. So we're going on 3.5 years now. I've got new team members in place, people that can speak the tech language, and my disdain for marketing still remains. I just don't like it. So now I have a team that does it. And I don't have to stress anymore.
Absolutely. So did you get lucky, like with, like who you brought on board at first, or was it a lot of trial and error and like you had to go through a couple of rounds of people, or, I believe in there's the right people for the bus and then there's the right seat on the bus. And so was it more of that, or it was like, I got people who were on the wrong bus completely because I was just trying to solve a problem real quickly? What was all that like?
My drone department, 2 weeks before Rob's accident, my head drone guy gave notice and was leaving us. All I did is write some invoices for drones. I knew nothing about drones. So immediately I reached out to my team, friends of mine that are big into drones. And this one I probably lucked into. one of our friends had just retired from active police, and he was looking for a part-time job, and he was one of their head drone pilots. So Barry Moore, I brought him on, and he continues today to man our drone department and does a heck of a job. Yeah. And he's brought in some new team members that have been phenomenal for us. I'd say my biggest mistake was finding somebody to work with the website. And I brought on a guy that Rob had talked with that kind of did some copywriting for us and some rewriting of the website and such. I think he thought he knew what Rob's vision was, but I don't, looking back now, I just needed somebody to do it. Like, it was kind of like I just need somebody to take the wheel on this, because I had no idea. I mean, I barely knew how to log into the back end of our website. So I brought him on, and there were some positives. There were a lot more negatives. It has been, my second web guy has done a great job, and we just, I'm on my third web guy. We just, working with our third web guy, and we're getting ready to revamp the website, which has been a hard decision because Rob did our website. You know, he did all of it. So it's kind of that overthinking portion, you know, because I always want to keep his legacy like forefront and how he would do it. But it's also like picking into his brain, like, well, what do I think he would do? Well, I mean, I think he'd do this, and overthinking. So, and then hiring the right team that has that public safety thought process too, because you can hire a phenomenal marketing team, but if they know nothing about public safety and they don't hear me when I say, you can't talk like this because this is not what we're going for. They could be the best marketing team in the world, but the second they start using weird language that doesn't coincide with public safety just shuts down. I mean, the average firefighter looks at an article and or a video 1.5 seconds before they turn it off or decide to watch it. 1.5 seconds you have to get their attention. You better have some good fire.
Yep.
I mean, it's tough.
Yeah.
So, and Rob did all of our videos himself. So they all have the same look. They have the same feel, you know, everybody knew when he did it. So to find a new video guy that comes in and try to make it look like Rob.
Yeah.
So that has been the biggest challenge. And I'm not public safety. I was a public safety spouse. Yeah. So I can speak the language, but I'm not in the career. So that has made it very difficult.
Yeah, it's like you almost can, from a marketing aspect or PR aspect, talk from the perspective of being the wife of somebody who was, you know, fighting fires and everything, but you can't speak from his point of shoes. And so, like, I'm sure you can get a lot of like wives and everything on board with like them going out and buying these cams and everything like that from your point of view. But then there's got to be that other angle as well. And it's so my agency was actually my aunt's, and she got super sick and closed it down and everything. So I'm kind of going through a little bit of that right now, where we have pushed out some soft updates to our site with some of the verbiage and everything. But like, I'm really wanting to like keep, like, this was her legacy that I'm trying to keep alive and everything. So it's like trying to figure out like, how do I keep it the same but different? Like like our cow is like, we're on video so you can see it. Like, this is a pretty cool looking cow and everything, but it was designed in like 05, 06 or something like that. And it's like, there's probably some opportunity for it to be like modernized and all of that. But it's like, I'm even afraid to make those changes because this was hers. Like, she was Screaming Cow Design Studio, and I've changed it to Marketing Group because she was very design focused and like website focused, more of the print side of things. And I'm going more on the route of like doing a lot of the advertising, running ads on Facebook, Google ads. We do the websites and graphic design and all that. But it's like making that change was tough for me because I'm like, what is she going to think about this and everything like that? So, so do you guys have like, are you guys early in that phase of the website where you still haven't kind of planned out what that vision is of how it's going to be the new site, but still kind of continue on some of that
So
for Rob?
I changed the website platform 2 years ago.
Okay.
Which was a huge decision for me because
Yeah.
Rob had hand built the website prior to. So I kept a
Yeah.
lot of it the same. I've added in my nephew is active duty fireman as well. So
Okay.
if you go to the web, Rob always had this picture of him kind of sideways.
Mhm.
And it has just been one of our photos that we utilized for all the years. And I went ahead and added in my nephew into that. So like
Okay.
integrated my nephew, which Rob would have loved. So I added in some of the things that I think that he would have really loved and added some videos. And, you know, as our products become a little bit more innovative, your website has to look a little bit more innovative and everybody gets more creative and there's more videos and you're
Mhm.
scrolling and things are popping up and doing all these jazzy things. So I kind of want it in between. I
Yeah.
personally hate when I go to a website and every time I scroll, things pop up. If I want that pop up, I want to click on the pop up, but I
Yep.
don't want to have to X out of 15 things to read the article that I want to read.
Mhm.
So we want it in between, you know,
Yep.
like I want you to sign up for my newsletter. I want you to sign up for my text messaging, but I don't want you to have to tell me no 3 times,
Right.
you know,
Yep.
just once. Once is
Yep.
cool. And if you say no, okay. You know,
Mhm.
so it's kind of finding that in between and in new videos, new eye-catching things that show a little bit more of what we do and
Yeah.
why you should do business with us.
Okay. But it's I'm looking at it right now and see the pic of both of them like right whenever you land um on the site and everything like that. But that's I always hate those sites like whenever you pop on, it's like all these videos pop up, like all these ads and this and that, and it's like even as I'm talking with clients, they're like, "Oh, I want one of those pop ups for the newsletter," and I want it to hit them like right when they land on the page, and I'm like, "You guys realize how many people like instantly close out of a site when that
Yeah.
happens? You want it time delayed to like 15 seconds, 30 seconds, so they're like halfway down the page, they're already engaged, and it's like it pops up, and it's not as annoying because they're already like focused in on what they're doing and all that." So, um, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but is there anything you want to kind of share on like kind of how you've navigated that journey, kind of going from it being you and Rob to you running everything, and it's one thing to lose your business partner, but it's one thing to also lose your business partner who is also your husband. And so I imagine that there's probably somebody who's going to listen to this and has either gone through this or will gone through this at some point. And so I imagine you're probably in a much better spot now. But it was probably a journey getting there. So
I would say at the beginning, it was utter shock and I was just scrambling.
yeah.
Like, how do I keep the website going? How do I keep this going? And I just literally took any help that I could get from anybody. I leaned on some of our mentors in the business,
Mm-hmm.
retired chief up from Milwaukee that is one of our best friends. Kind of just leaned on people that knew fire service better than I did. And when it came to writing, kind of putting Rob's story together and things like this, I leaned on some of his best friends. He had an interview with someone that was an hour and a half long. And although torture listening to him kind of go through, it was listening to it from a different perspective, right? Because I talk to him
Mm-hmm.
all the time. So there are things that he says that I didn't catch, you know?
Yeah.
And then so I listened to all the interviews and all the videos that he took and went through all of his computer. So I literally almost felt like I studied him like he was a class that I had to master. And I took everything off his computer and tried to kind of make a list of the things that appeared to be very important to him. And in our conversations, the things that were very important to him. And I think I just always kept that in the back of my head. I was frozen, for probably 6 months. The guy that had taken over our website to try to step in and help me wanted to make all these changes. And I was like, no, we're not making those changes. We're not making those changes. And I think looking back, I think I always had to remind myself throughout my grieving process is to give myself grace, because today I might be ready to make that change. But tomorrow morning, when that phone call is coming in at 10 o'clock and I'm getting ready to make that change, and all at once I would freeze.
Yeah.
I would have that guilt and that overthinking. And I think for me, it was take a minute, give yourself the grace to be where you're at. Some days I cried. Some days I celebrated. I really tried to focus on how to grow the company. And sometimes that meant taking myself outside that circle and trying to step outside the circle and look in. And that's hard to do, to separate yourself when you're so integrated in it. But I feel like leaning on people, and I would say like, well, hey, what do you think about this? And I just had such a great support system around me on a personal level and then business wise, that when I bounced things off people and they were like, no, that's good. I love that. Or I don't think Rob would like that. I don't think he would like that. And I respected them because Rob talked to them about fire service on a regular basis. So when I would present things to, say, his brother, who was retired battalion chief, and his brother would be like, I don't think he would like that. I just didn't do it. And I trusted them. And I trusted people outside myself. But I had that great support system. So you first have to have that support system. Second, have to just trust that some people are seeing things that you can't see. And there's going to be some overthinking. There's going to be some mistakes. I mean, even with having the best partner in the world running a business with you, you're still making mistakes on the way.
Yeah.
You can't learn if you don't make mistakes. The question is, the question at the end of the day is, did I make less mistakes than not today?
Yeah.
And that's how you know you're successful. So.
Yeah. It's, the best teacher in life is pain, unfortunately. And so it's, everybody has their own, setbacks and everything. That was actually part of the reason why I decided to do this podcast and all of that is like, it's, those mistakes or setbacks along the way are kind of like what gets you to where you're at and all of that. And one of the things I've been trying to do before I hop on and record these is I kind of try to like sit there and in a way put myself in your shoes and everything. And, it's just me who's running my business, but like, I joke that my wife Avery is like my forgotten co-founder in a way. Cause it's like in the back end, like she is in a way kind of like I run things that I have to buy her. I like, if I'm about to invest in another like coaching program, it's like, it's several $100s a month. And it's like, those things help my growth, but it's like, it's a cash flow thing and all of that. And so, but then I have that, and then I have her as my wife at home. And I was just thinking through things, and it's like, if you work for a company, hopefully you have, short-term disability, or you have like some ability to basically like, you have some sort of insurance to be able to kind of like take 6 months to grieve or whatever it may be. But as entrepreneurs, we don't really have that at all. Like you had to grieve while you were trying to also continue to run a business. And so I'm sure like looking back, you're kind of like, it was very important on who we hired before this happened with Rob, because you probably wouldn't have been able to do what you did as fast as you did and still grieve at the same time if it wasn't for those people and everything, because you have to have everybody else to be able to continue that dream and mission and all that. So
And I think as an entrepreneur and small business owner, whenever your team is smaller, when you lose one of your team members, whether they go to a different job or whether they pass away, like there's such a hole there because there's a lot of different hats that small business owners wear. I mean, we were talking about this the other day and I don't remember who I was talking with, but like I lost Rob on a Monday. It was payroll week. Payroll had to be ran Tuesday by 2 p.m. Otherwise, my team didn't get paid.
Yeah.
Period. And they depend on me. They depended on us. So it was, having that conversation and saying like, I got it done. And then, they sit at the office worried, like, well, what's she going to do? Is she going to sell the company? Is she going to run the company? Is she going to be able to do what Rob did? Yeah. So I think, it's also then really kind of stepping up and being a leader because you have two choices, right? You can lay down or you can get back up. And, I think as an entrepreneur, those are your only two choices, and you're going to hit and play dodgeball with all kinds of things. And losing Rob was a huge dodgeball to the face. But I feel just like you with your aunt, what would she want you to do? This just happened to you. Well, what would she want? Would she want you to sit in your office? No.
Yeah.
She'd want you to get out and do whatever it took for you to be successful, because having this company not be successful doesn't continue to grow his legacy. And it is most important to me to continue to grow his legacy and to make the fire service public safety industry a little safer, one camera at a time, one drone at a time, and providing them a good training tool that hopefully at the end of the day saves some lives today. And that's what he wanted. And that's what I'll continue to work towards, is bringing to market some of the products that technology wasn't quite ready for when he was alive.
Yeah. And I'm sure at times you sit there and you're like probably thinking back to a conversation from like 06, 07 when the idea was first. He's like, we're going to do all of this, and you couldn't. And now it's like, actually, maybe we can do those things. So, okay. So, if there's somebody listening and they're going through what you've gone through, what is some advice that you can give that person? If it's like you're, as you said, like you were kind of like all over the place, you lost Rob on Monday, payroll Tuesday. And so there's probably a lot that you had to learn about navigating yourself, navigating the business. So somebody who's really trying to figure that out, what is that advice that you would give them?
Focus on one thing at a time, because 15 things are going to come at you. You can't do 15 things at one time. Take a breath, give yourself grace, focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
One thing at a time, learn as much as you can about it, or find somebody else that knows about that.
Right.
And bring them in as your team. Help them understand what your goals are. Always remember where your goals were before that unfair advantage hit. What were they? Because your goals, they change somewhat, but
right.
Ultimately our goal was to release a live streaming camera. That was our goal. If you have a goal in your business, don't let anything stop you.
Yeah.
Don't let anything stop you. And, you're going to fail. Tomorrow morning, make your list, check it off one at a time. And if that one becomes too difficult, put it away, take a look at it tomorrow, because life's going to be there tomorrow. All those things that you didn't want to do today, they're going to hit you tomorrow. So you may as well, do your most difficult task first thing in the morning.
Yep.
That is what I do. My most difficult task.
Yeah. And that's tough.
It is tough.
That is
sometimes
something I'm trying to do now.
A little bit. But if you accomplish your first task, your most difficult task in the morning, everything else is easier. I'm a big box checker. So like I make my list and I check the boxes and I highlight that thing. Like I make sure that my mental knows I have succeeded doing that thing. And I think that everybody's different. For me, failing with this company was never an option. Yeah. I'm going to fail doing certain things here or there, but failing in general is not an option. And I've had to retry to do things and just realize that sometimes I just have limitations, and know your limitations. And it's okay to have limitations. We can't know everything. That's not how we're designed. So do what you do best. I had phenomenal advice from a business mentor years ago, because I was wearing a million hats and I was overwhelmed. And he said, "What don't you like doing as part of your business?" And I was like, "What do you mean? What don't you like? What task that you do on a day-to-day basis do you not like?" And I was like, "Man, I hate setting up distributors." He goes, "Don't do it." I went, "What do you mean? Don't do it?" Okay, it's not going to set up distributors. We're not selling in other countries. You're and he goes, "Don't do it. Find someone else that will do it, because here's the thing. If you don't like doing that task, you will never do it well. Find somebody that does it well." So I took kind of layers. If you layer an onion, whenever Rob passed away, I had all these layers, and I was like, "Yep, I don't like that. Give that to somebody else. I don't like that. Give that to somebody else." So I think you have to find what you feel you can handle, peel that layer off, and give it to someone else. Because if you don't, you become overwhelmed trying to do 15 things. Whenever your mind can really only concentrate on one thing at a time anyway, maybe two.
Yeah. Wow. That is fantastic advice. So as we're wrapping up here, if anybody wanted to learn more about Firecam, wanted to connect with you directly, anything along those lines, what's the best option for them?
So our website is firecam.com. Our easiest support email with any questions about any of our products is support@firecam.com. We're located in Belleville, Illinois. We run our headquarters out of there. We pretty well sell drones everywhere. We kind of have boots on the ground everywhere with our drones. We've got a guy in California, a few guys down in Texas, New Orleans, and they travel to do demos, trainings. So we kind of just do a little bit when it comes to public safety, body cams, dash cams. Any questions about cameras, all that stuff probably should be directed at support@Firecam, because I'd love to say that I know all the aspects of our cameras, but at this point, it's kind of one of the layers that I took off.
Yeah.
I do paperwork very well. I do sales very well. I talk to people to help understand what Rob's legacy is and should be. And I focus more of my attention on just holding the integrity of our company. And it's what I love to do. So yeah, I do it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for joining me today. Just talking through everything, just thinking about Rob and everything that I knew about him and everything like that. It's just kind of great sitting here and chatting through it. So for anybody who is listening to the podcast today, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and also leave us a 5-star review so we can continue to produce more episodes like this. And please also share our episode, whether you're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, anything like that. So we can get more guests like Jami on the podcast, but more importantly, so we can continue to share the legacy that Rob has left behind. Until next time, this is your Unfair Advantage.
Thank you.
You've been listening to The Unfair Advantage. We're all human. We all make mistakes. But Brad's mission is to turn those into useful tools. Tools that can propel you forward like you've never imagined. He's not an expert, but he's been in the trenches. He hit rock bottom when his fintech company folded in 18 months, and he was knee-deep in the poor me attitude. But you know what? He bounced back, and now his mission is to help you do the same. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, rate, and review. Visit the website at bradstarnes.fyi. The podcast URL is unfairadvantagepodcast.com. And find Brad on Facebook and LinkedIn at Brad Starnes Official. See you next time on The Unfair Advantage.